And welcome back. And now we're into voices for today. Today, what, the 29th of October? October is virtually over. And we have October, November, December, 2 more months. And the year will be finished and we'll be getting into the new year. Hello, let me go straight to the phone lines. Hello,
Hey,
caller.
good morning. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I'm all right. Did you listen to the press conference yesterday, Mark Bartley's?
Well, I tried to listen to. I think I can say I listened to most of it.
How you found it?
Well, I found it the very same old, same old. If I mean, there are people who feel that I'm against Mark Brantley, but I'm not against Mark Brantley just because he's Mark Brantley. I'm against Mark Brantley because he has been the premier of Nevis for a long, long time, and he has not delivered on anything. And I feel that he has overexhausted his time, and he just keeps coming with the same old rhetoric. And if you question him or you go against him, he gets arrogant and demeaning. And all I got from yesterday was was his same old self.
Mm, Good for you. I will tell you. I tried listening and it left me more confused in certain areas. At best, I think that what was presented yesterday, especially their responses, I find them to be contrary and contradictory. And all that was going through my mind is what I come across in the Bible. The spirit of lies have gone out, or otherwise put, a lying spirit has gone forth. That's all I can think about. But the little that I garnered, because to tell you the truth, I will have to go back to a replay. I will, because some persons ask questions based on what was said and the response that is given. It makes it seem like the person asking the question don't know what he's saying, or he's out of his mind. They're just twisting, especially when it came to the Constitution, in changing it, or
Yeah.
what like that was one. And I'm certain something along the name of the Constitution was mentioned in terms of making changes. I'm certain I heard that. I
Yes.
could be
Yes, there
off
was.
here.
There was.
Right.
That is why I say it's the same old, same old. You come and it seems as if though an individual who has been in a position of leadership and authority for so long, you think that they would come to the realization that you're in a position where people are going to not always agree with you, and you're supposed to be a statesperson, but it seems he's not aware of that.
Yeah. Another thing that I got out that is not making any sense to me. They're talking about if, well, their side, well, let's say the NIA defaults on this project, how much the purported Destiny project, how much they will get from those people. And to me, it seems like Destiny is the one who tells them how much they intend to pay them. Sorry, I think I have it wrong. If Destiny defaults on the promises, so to speak,
Yeah.
they are, Matt Ratley is telling us that Destiny has given them a price as to how much they will pay them. And I'm wondering, so where is Mark Brantley's side, or the Federation side of the bargain? They are going to just accept a figure, and then on the other hand, if our side, and I put our in inverted commas, if this side defaults or repeal or whatever is repeal or this thing doesn't go through, he cannot give a figure.
Yeah. Those are the things
It
I
is open
discussed.
blanketed, and he talking about something about 2 times cost, capital expenditure, and cost of real estate, a kind of a formula. I mean, what nonsense is that?
And
And
caller
one would think,
And Carla, all of the things that he's saying are more leaning towards representing the investor as opposed to the people who elected him to office. This I can't
Exactly.
understand it.
Exactly. I mean, as a lawyer, and it is said that his married partner is also a lawyer. Who gets into agreement with this kind of nonsense? Does this make sense? And he's talking about if the project goes through and if it is there for 20 years and the people of Nevis decide they don't want them anymore, and this is how this kind of a formula that he puts out there comes into effect. And I'm there saying, but if they're there for 20 years, why would they want to leave? And if they're there for 20 years, how are you going to get them to leave? This doesn't make sense. Another thing that is instructive to me, and I don't know how many persons have really, because in all of this confusion, I'm trying to pick some sense out of nonsense, because I couldn't get it all at the same time. But I don't know how many persons have realized something here, and this is very, very instructive to me. Hey, we in trouble, you know. Quint, we in trouble, you know.
I feel we are. But
We are in trouble.
do the people realize it? Because the main trouble we are in is that, as Calypsonians have sung, they're coming back, and it seems as if though we're just opening our arms and giving them back. That is what.
But they're
it
coming
seems.
back for what? Nothing is here for them.
Yeah.
What are they coming back for?
Land.
Where no land is here for them.
Well,
In the beginning, when they came, they met persons here with the land, you know. They took it. And over the years, they have been paid and paid and paid for these lands that originally do not belong to them. So what are they coming back for?
But Carla, if you say and I say and we the people say there's nothing there for them, but the people who we elected and who's supposed to be negotiating for us come and say that they want and they are adamant, it seems, set on accommodating facilitating the sale of what how can we say there's no land nothing there for them when it is being facilitated?
Yes, yes, there is nothing for them. No land is here for them. We don't have anything for them. But how it is put, yes, they are the ones, who we put there are the ones who take what belongs to us and hand it over to them.
Yeah, and then next
They
thing you
take it and they hand it over to them. But
and
what belongs to us belongs to us.
but hear
It
this.
doesn't belong to them
If it
at
goes
all.
if it goes back to them, you know what they're gonna say down the line? But we didn't come and take it from you. Look at you.
Exactly. That's why you see, I keep saying the same strategy, different tactics. Exactly.
Yeah.
That is how it is. Exactly. It's the same blueprint, you know. It is the same blueprint throughout. Exactly.
So how is it our leaders can't see it?
They put themselves in certain positions. They put themselves in it, you know.
But Carla, I'm telling you this. If I were any one of those leaders, this is why I wouldn't go into politics. But let's use a hypothetical, and I find myself as a prime minister, and I go to negotiate with some investor, and the investor looks at me and says things like, well, you're going to make sure that you don't import, you don't export, or you have to find a way to make sure that internally you don't grow certain foods, because if you do that, then you're going to be reneging on something, and we're going to have to take sanctions against you. Or, for instance, well, we want X amount of lands and so forth and so forth. Look, I would look them right in the eye, right? And I would say, so what makes you feel that you're entitled to these lands? And they would have to tell me whatever they're going to tell me. And then I would look them in the eye and say, but let me tell you, the only thing me and my people have is the land. We would not voluntarily come here, but we're here. Our foreparents bled and died here, and we own this, and we're not going to relinquish it. And to heck with what they want to feel. And I guess I'm going to be sanctioned, and the rest of the Caribbean leaders are going to say, "Well, you see, Quint doesn't Quint doesn't want to accommodate the investors, and the rest of them are going to acquiesce." But that is would be my stance.
But the thing about it is, right? We are a smart people. But I don't think that we're really using our brain the proper way. Number one, why is it that we always feel like in order to have investment or for the country to progress, we always have to go to them?
That's the
You know how
question.
many times I hear local people talk about investing in their own country, setting the framework, giving the leverage for our own people to invest, and nothing is done along that line. And even on the political scene, you also hear the opposition talk about, oh, foreign investment. We haven't seen a foreign investment in this time and so on, right? We are to be blamed for all of this because we feel like our progress and success is dependent on them, those out there. And if they don't come, we won't eat. And they know this, and that's why you see the playoff. That has nothing to do with all about all of the economic hitmen, because what we have in here, economic hitmen coming in. You see that CBI? You see that CBI?
Yeah.
They say a lot has been made out of it. They on the outside know, and look at what they have done. They come in under the guise of investment, and I do believe that some of them do have money, but they tell themselves they're not coming in because they have their role to play in all of this. And they come in, and they, in a smart way, they take back out as much of that CBI money.
And even
And
more,
while they are doing that,
they take out
we
even
are
more.
losing bit and bit and bit of our resources, in, especially the lands.
Yeah.
But before I go, let me come to what I was saying is instructive. Something that the Premier, Mark Brantley, said that was very, very instructive. And persons had to listen carefully to that. Where it said that this proposal for the Destiny Project, it is a federal, well, I said federal issue.
Yeah.
And I am here saying, because he says that if it is repealed, when the federal is involved. So what this is saying, you have the federal government, the prime minister. He, you can say, is over both islands federally.
Yeah.
Yes, Nevis has certain, they have the NIA, and the federal has certain, aspects of governance that they take care of for Nevis.
Yes.
But you know what this is saying? What I got from Mark Brantley? If this is repealed, he has made sure, and this is me now, this is me, he has made sure that he has wrapped up Prime Minister Joe in it to such an extent that the federal government will be responsible for repaying most of this money that Destiny will sue the Federation for, or sue the NIA for, or whatever you want to say. I don't know how many people realize that. They will end up. So saying its end, when you think that this has nothing to do with you, you are in it in more hot water possibly than Nevis.
But caller, recently, if you can remember, there was a case where some individuals took the Nevis contingent or aspect or governmental aspect to court on particular issues, and if I'm not mistaken, my understanding was that what we got away from that was that it was signed off that the federal government would be responsible for certain debts and so forth when it came to Nevis. Nevis didn't have the autonomy to do with certain things. There were certain things on a federal level that Nevis didn't have the autonomy to do. So you're right.
Yeah, because this deal, this Destiny thing, to me personally, has nothing to do with the federal. It is the NIA. But Mark, being a lawyer, sees all of this and he tried to rope in the prime minister, who is the federal leader, a lead politician. So if this thing doesn't go through, think it's the prime minister, the treasury is in deep water. Because they are the ones who are going to have to foot that bill. Because if the NIA decides they're not going to help anything, somebody will have to foot the bill. And this is where the federal comes in.
Well,
And for those who are vying,
well, caller,
to
when
go
it comes
in,
to certain things, when it comes to St. Kitts and Nevis, I will admit that there's certain things I'm still unclear on, and this is why we need certain factions to advise us, maybe an attorney, the KC or whoever, because I was kind of blurred where as to whether it would be Mac who would have the responsibility for debt incurred on Nevis or it is the federal government. I think.
I
Go ahead.
no finish what you're saying.
I think if I'm not mistaken, I was wondering why is it that Mark would want to take the responsibility for certain things on Nevis, knowing that Nevis had a what do they call it, a debt of about 500 million or thereabout. Why would he want to add to that? So there are questions that are left unanswered.
Yeah, and we could sort through that. We could sort through that. We could analyze that. But to me, a lot of this now is being put. I don't know what was said to Prime Minister Joe. I really don't know what was said to Prime Minister Joe. And as far as the AG is concerned, I think a lot of these positions, they are political. Because as far as I'm concerned, the AG should be the one to apply political common sense and lead the people aright when it comes to certain things.
Yeah, I
Don't
would
make
agree.
decisions.
I would agree with you on that. We have another caller waiting, though.
Yeah, let me finish up. Don't wait until, don't do things because you were put there by a particular party. It is not going to work. It doesn't reflect good on him as a lawyer, the lead lawyer, and the legal fraternity. It doesn't look good. And finally, before I go, those who are seeking, if this thing is repealed and this becomes a federal financial debt, I'm saying to those who are seeking political office, you go in. Remember, they keep saying, oh, the contract was signed and government is continuous. This is going to be your albatross. So don't think that you're getting away because you're in opposition. Pay close attention. It will be your inherited problem. Because when it comes to these contracts from overseas, local politicians believe that they cannot do anything about it because it is binding. But when it comes to local contracts, their mouthpieces always like to say, oh, this happens under the former administration, and because it happens under that, and there wasn't no redress, the present one is not supposed to be responsible for it. So if you want anything, go to court. But when it comes to the outside, they say, oh, this was signed, and they can't go back on it. So those of you who are in opposition who are looking to go in, check this carefully. And finally, I do believe the way you see why Mark Brantley is pushing this thing so strongly, he don't want to give up. Well, obviously, something is already there. But I believe he's using this as a political, what should I say, favor toy for him. He has nothing to really campaign on, apparently. And he has to push this because the thermal, geothermal, he can't use that anymore. He has to push this. But if he gets back in, nothing is going to stop him from going full speed ahead because the first thing he's going to say, the people have confidence in him. That's why they voted him back in.
Well,
and since they voted him back in, they voted him to go through with the project. So,
but he's saying it all even now. So.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, he's saying
the people
the people have
anyway,
elected
you have a
him.
blessed day.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, caller.
Yes, good morning again. And that caller is so right. And if I may add to it, but also this is the voice of Winston. Welcome again. I am going to send out a warning to Prime Minister Joe. Whatever Mark is doing, it's not just the NIA. It involves the federal government. Let's take into consideration The federal government is responsible for the national security of the federation. Nevis. Also, let me just call that name. No, this deal, like I said, there are no ink. There are proposals, there are drafts. But if this were to happen, the federal government will be responsible for this penalty because they sign off on the SSD zone law. So Mark has his escape already planned. But let's say this too. There is a clip that Dr. Joe had made about Mark Brantley, something about the sheriff. 2 shots I have for the sheriff, or 1 shot I have for the sheriff. Well, I will consider Mark. I will consider Joe, the marshal. So the marshal gonna shoot the sheriff, not in the sense of pow pow, okay? In the sense of killing that deal that Mark is trying to put to peddle. But I will say to Joe, now is the time to fire your shot. Shoot the sheriff. Kill that deal in Nevis because he's gonna be dragged in. Right now he's trying to dodge, but he can't dodge. If you let Mark go through with this, you're gonna be responsible on the federal side because it's a national security situation. Mark cooking up a federal situation, and how are you gonna get out of this? So, prevention better than cure. Kill the deal. Shoot the sheriff. This is the time to kill that sheriff.
Caller. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I don't really like. I don't really like you continuously using the shoot the sheriff. But I understand what you're
But
saying.
it's like in the society now.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
only
well.
echoing.
Not
Yes,
everything.
sorry, no.
Not everything that people say. You know, because if people come in on a certain someone is passing across the floor and they don't hear your entire statement, they might run away with a conclusion. You understand? But I understand what you're
I do
saying.
respect that. I
Yes.
thank you for understanding.
Yes.
Yeah. So I will, like I said, you should. I don't even want to use the word kill them. You should stop the deal.
Yes.
Stop the deal. He has the final say, just like the
Well,
brother said this morning.
you can say he could kill the deal. I don't have a problem with that. But it's the other part of it.
I'm running from that. I'm running from that. I don't want it. Function me again.
Yes.
Walking on a covered light.
Yeah.
But I think you should kill the deal because it is toxic, it is confusionistic. I mean, we can't go through that.
Yeah.
And the awareness that we will be we will be channel ourselves through because of this suit of not fulfilling or repeal. We don't do that. That is not for us.
Yeah.
That is definitely not for us. So, Brother Drew, remember we had the famous handshake for the independence celebration. It's not that I am against you, but you've got to be careful. Caveat emptor.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for allowing me, Brother Quint.
Yeah. Go ahead, caller.
Quinn, good
Yes.
day
Good
to you and good day to all your listeners. Greetings once more in Jesus Christ's name, the only Savior of sinners from the sins and from hell, through faith only, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, Quint, the farmer who you had on your previous program, I think I heard him say the government spent $100 million to bring in these tourist cruise ships.
Well, I can't remember the exact figure, so I'm not going to say yay or nay, but I did remember he said they spent a certain amount for the cruise ship, but I can't remember the exact figure, the exact amount.
Yeah, I think I heard $100 million. Now, I know the government used to pay at least some jets to bring them in, which I disagree with. And if you're going to add to that now the cruise ship, I disagree with all of that. I think in the end.
I think I remember what he said. I think he said that was to do with the pier, so that they accommodate the tourist ship, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm still not too sure. But I think that is what he said, something along the line of the pier.
Yeah, I think I heard him mention something about pier as well.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I would have to go back over that program and listen to it
Yeah.
again. At least that piece, that portion.
I
No,
would say that if you want to quote what someone says, refresh your mind on it before you come, because that is why I don't make certain statements. I'm going to be playing some clips, but I make sure I
mhm.
have those clips so that, I don't depend on my memory or my recall because we're human beings and we're entitled and do errors sometimes, and I don't want to be making any error if I'm going to use what someone said.
Yes, I understand.
Okay.
But the thing is, I couldn't go to the program now because I want to listen to your program.
Okay.
But I guess when it all finished in that time,
Yes.
so that's good, yeah. Another thing, Quint. Also, I thought I heard that someone said they need, this whole SSZ project need 2,500 acres, but right now they have 1,700. Is that correct?
Uh, I'm not. Let me see. I think if I'm yes, somewhere in that vein. They need 20 something, and they have approximately 17. Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Okay. So, so, so they need a few more acres still.
yeah.
Now, I remember, again, I hope I'm quoting you correct again, because you're correcting me every time, so I hope I'm quoting you correct again.
Hmm.
Hope I'm quoting you correct. I think I heard you said in the past that you heard that there was a politician in Nevis who was trying to influence people to sell their land.
No, what I would have said, if I remember, there is a politician in Nevis who is associated with someone who is facilitating the sale of lands. I use my words very, very carefully when I
Okay.
make certain statements. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. Um, so let me say this, Quint. Why this one like they have most of the land, they do not have all. Okay?
And I don't believe that they even have the amount that you can't take what politicians say. You have to take it with a grain of salt. Grain of salt. Sometimes they use figures so that you say, "Oh well, they already have so might as well." You understand? You have to be
Well, I
very
don't believe
careful
Mark Brantley.
when you.
From that town hall thing where he obviously lied at such a clear thing. I can't ever trust him again unless he come and apologize that he lied. So I can't trust Matt Brantley again unless he do that. Because what he did at that town hall, saying that the year have it when he was obviously did not had it.
Yeah.
Well, if something so clear and he could so brazenly lie in your face about something that is so clear,
Yeah.
what about things that you do not know?
Yeah. Well, I like the part in the clip where later down when he tries to make a statement and you hear some voice saying in the back, some voices saying in the background, all the people who just said no, all the people who just said no, so yeah.
But Quint, this is a serious thing. You know?
Yeah, this is a serious thing.
And when I say serious, I mean serious in the sense of a deadly thing. You know? So let me ask you, Quint. Okay? Apparently they do not have all the land. Whether the figures are correct or what, obviously they do not have all the land. And they're in negotiations with the developers. Now, let me ask you a question, Quint. The lands that they do have, who own them, the developers or the government?
Well, if they say they have, the word have mean within your possession, right?
Right.
So that means we think we can logically assume that when they say they have, it means the developers have it, because it then means you can logically assume that it has been bought from the locals who owned it prior to those who now have it, who would then be the investors.
That's my opinion too. So therefore, what they already have, the government does not need to negotiate for those lands that they already have, because
No.
they have them.
Yes.
They only need to negotiate for what they do not have as yet.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Oh, good. So let me ask you a question. They're
Well,
making all kind of
it
deals.
seems as if though I'm in the witness chair here and I'm being seriously cross-examined. Okay, go ahead.
No, just a meeting of the minds. Just a
Yes.
meeting of the minds.
Okay.
We're trying all to be logical here.
Yes.
Now, apparently, the government have is making deals, but you said, I think I heard you say it is not signed yet. It is not in ink.
Well, let's say they're negotiating. That is what Mark
They're
keeps
just
saying.
negotiating.
Yes.
Right. Now, they're negotiating that if they default, what they would have to pay, and if the other side default, what the other side would have to pay.
Well,
All that they negotiate.
in Mark's recent meeting, which was yesterday, he only put the side forward of if the investors reneged, he said there would be a $75 million US that they would be expected to pay.
Right.
But he seems to have conveniently left out what we would have to pay if we defaulted, even though he said that the only thing it seemed they stipulated in the agreement was that you cannot repeal the deal. So then the question becomes, if this or any other government decides to repeal the deal, what will be the consequences? Unfortunately, Mark Brantley inconveniently left out that.
Right. So apparently he know the figures, but I assume, but maybe he conveniently left them out. So apparently the negotiated deal is, I fail on my side, I pay you a certain amount. You fail on your side, you're going to pay me a certain amount. Okay, no, we are not told what the certain amount that the other would have to pay if they fail.
Yes.
But obviously,
Mind you,
our side, no.
mind you, Greg, this is a bill that has already been debated and passed
Right.
and gazetted, so it is law. The Attorney General said it when he was here. So, mind you, that is the case, but yet still, you're saying that you're being, how should I'm looking for the word. You're not divulging, you're not letting us know what we would have to deal with if we defaulted. Don't you think that having gone through that, as you assumed, we assumed that you would know the figures, or anyone in cabinet would know the figures, why aren't we being told the figures even after the fact? Don't you think that is very interesting?
I think it is very, yes, interesting, but I want to use a stronger word. I think that is very dishonorable.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very dishonorable. I think it is very bad. Bad. No, what I'm saying is that the investors have their land. Obviously, the deal that they're negotiating, it cannot be, well, I don't think it's in reference with those lands that they already have.
Yeah.
It has to be in reference to the lands that they have not, that they don't have at the moment. No, let me answer your question.
I want you to remember, Greg, that you can always call back and continue, because I want to take a commercial break and there's another caller holding presently. So if anything, hold that other question in your head and call back with it, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
No problem. Cool.
Okay. Caller, go ahead.
Yes, Quint again.
I want you to be brief because I want to take a commercial break.
Let's take into consideration the investor need 25 acres, but they already have 15 to 17 already. Now, those private owners who give into that 1,500 acres, are they being fully paid for, or they are going to be on a payment plan? No.
Well, Mr. Welcome, you shouldn't be asking me that question, you know. Those are the questions that the media should. Those are the questions that the media should be asking. When Greg asks me questions mainly relating to what I said and how I understand something, but that kind of question you're asking right now, I don't have even an idea. I mean, I'm going to play a clip where you hear someone saying that what they experience. But I feel this is my opinion.
It's your opinion I needed, not for you to answer a question
Okay,
of certain
this is my
section.
opinion. This is my opinion, and again, my opinion, not
Yes,
WinFM's,
yes, yes, yes,
not
yes,
WinFM's opinion. This is
yes.
quintessential or Patrick Queeley's opinion. My op-
Okay.
my opinion is that having already gone to cabinet and done a law, put something into law, and finding out that the people don't really feel comfortable with it, and you want to sell it to the people, convince the people that it is something that they should invest in, I think that you should come clean. I think I have a problem with that. You're saying that you're going to have these town hall meetings, but yet still you're vague. I heard Mark Brantley. I heard him with my ears. Someone asked him, a journalist said, Mr. Mark Brantley, could you run us through, give us an idea of the timeline of when you started these negotiations, when you got the first investor, and how it progressed? And Mark Brantley says, well, unfortunately, I don't have the papers or the figures with me. And
Timeline.
I'm thinking to myself, you mean after having gone through all of what we've gone through, and you realize there's a distaste in the people's mouth, and you come to a town hall meeting, you're the premier of
Yeah.
a country, and you have the audacity to stand there and say you don't have the information? I mean, come on.
That's like playing the Fifth Amendment in America. But here it is. If the people, the private owners who allowed their land to be sold their land due to that perspective, and they are not being paid for, I smell fish. And this is like Christoph Harbour. When Buddy Darby came in and he get the chance to use the SID fund to how he got it, the National Bank and the National Bank Trust. And there might be an empty deal
Caller,
with contract
caller,
deals.
caller, caller. I would prefer when you're going to make certain statements, we know the persons associated, but with certain things, don't. I would prefer if you leave out names. Remember when you asked me about Mark Brantley and certain, I said Mark Brantley is associated with someone who's doing the facilitating. I want you to be, I want you to learn. You keep saying you're going to be running into politics. Learn how to be diplomatic. Do not use people's name if you can avoid it.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. I will bypass.
And wrap up your statement, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe I will say to the people of Nevis, if you are not fully paid, if you sold, I don't know if you will be penalized for repealing your decision. But if you could stop it, you have not been fully paid yet. Demand full payment if you went to the transaction.
I feel.
Or
Look here. I feel. If I'm following what Mark is saying, unless Mark is not telling us the whole truth, I feel that you can repeal. You know why I feel you can repeal. Mark keeps saying that we haven't finalized the negotiations. He keeps
no
saying
ink.
that.
No ink.
So if he keeps saying that, then it means you can repeal. You can only have a problem with repeal when you've finished the negotiations and signed off on it.
That's
Until
right.
until you reach there, you can repeal it.
Yes.
Okay. So wrap
Thank
up,
you.
please, so that I can make that commercial break.
And you have just wrapped it up for me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let me take a bit of a commercial break, and I'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Rams the good food people always there to serve you. Rams the good food people locations right near you. Rams the good food people in store specials for you. Rams the good food people. Rams. When you need better service, Rams is always here.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us. TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind. You're always safe with us.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
And I'm back with you, and we're into voices. And my intention is to play a few clips. I've got 4 of them here that I'm going to play. So far, I've been accommodating the callers, but at some point, I want to be able to play those clips. So let me see if I can get myself just about ready here. And let me see if I can pull up my first clip. Now, this clip, I entitled it, "Let us speak about the land swap and land sale issue." Before I do that, let me entertain this caller. Hello, caller.
Yes, great. Good morning again, man.
Yeah.
Get back in for a few minutes. Yeah, Quinn.
Go ahead.
A lot of stuff. It's not a lot of. If you hear me, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Go ahead.
Hear me okay. Yeah. Yeah. Let me zoom in on Mark for a minute. I believe Mark is definitely trying to force this thing down the Nevis people's throats, and I believe he should really put the brakes on this stuff and honor the wishes of the people. Let the people's voices be heard. Because if he don't let the people's voices be heard, he is depriving the people of their democratic rights. He likes to say democracy at work, but democracy is not at work when you're moving dictatorial. You know, the people, you know, it's funny, right? Man, you're real funny this morning. Let me go to what you mentioned earlier about people was back there saying certain things, right? I think he was referencing that specific time that he was talking about in that town hall. It was a situation when somebody in the crowd stated that, no, I think the person stated that there is some vast kickback on the situation, the SSC law and the proposed destiny coming to Nevis. Vast amount of the society is kicking back. And he asked the person back in the crowd, where is the vast response? And the person was saying, did you hear us just said no? The persons who were shouting no, we are the vast, we representing the vast segment of the community. We are saying no. But we've been having discussions since August 11th. Mark himself is a social media king. He knows where the vast kickback is. He's seen the vast kickback. He's seen it on social media, and he is hearing it on these airwaves, and he's seen it, and he has heard it in the town hall meeting Monday night. He don't need to see and hear it from nowhere else. He already don't see and hear it from where he needs to see it and hear it from. The people in that town hall meeting were screaming no. We have to let the people's voices be heard. Me, with all due respect, we need to see our politicians moving with the people. We are the ones that put them there. The Prime Minister needs to call an emergency sitting in that federal parliament and strike out this law. There's nowhere else around it. The people has kicked back enough already for them to do that. And if they don't do that, that means they are not respecting the people. Man, Quint, when last you seen a tractor run through a cane field?
Well,
You see when a tractor run through a cane field,
we don't have any
what
cane
type
field.
of line it
We-
makes to the
we don't-
you see the line, the chunk of cane, the plow, the when the tractor is cut in. Run a tractor through a cane field and you see what the trail the tractor left behind. You know what a strike through is? They need to strike through this law with the tractor. They need to strike through it. There's no way around it, nowhere else around it. The people is asking to repeal this law. Respect the voices of the people. You know, Mark Brantley, he has a lot of stuff with himself. The man is so frustrated that the people is kicking back eventually, but that's the people's democratic right. And he keeps saying democracy at work. Is democracy at work? Respect democracy when you see it working. We are seeing it working right now. The people are kicking back. The man keeps talking down to the people. He say he can't see how the people can see that this is beneficial for Nevis. The people seen that it's not beneficial for the locals. It's not beneficial for us. That last person that talked at the end of before the farmers came on earlier on Amnesty, I would like to hear from him again on this show so he can have more time to talk. Let me hear what he was saying earlier. Let him clarify and expand on what he was saying earlier. We need the national mobilization. This is not a Nevis law. It's a federal law. I'll leave it to Quinn. Mark is very deceptive at this point. The man is going to run this thing to the Nevis Assembly and approve it over there. But the caller that came on at the end of the segment before the farmers came on, he was trying to say that the Prime Minister still have the last say when any project under this SSC is approved in the Nevis NIA Assembly. It's still going to make its way to the Prime Minister's desk. But the thing is, what's so dangerous about now, the Prime Minister, the AG, and Mark Brantley, they are all in collusion. No opposition across the Narrows. It is not good for Sinkis and Nevis right now to see that the leader of the opposition in the federal house is rolling with the current government. And I'll leave it there, Quinn, for now. I'll come back in if I have to. Thanks.
Okay, go ahead, caller.
Yeah, Quint, it's me again.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue in the vein that I was going on. Now, Quint, on Earth, okay? How on Earth? Okay, number one, you need a certain amount of land for the SSZ project. You only got a certain amount. The others that you do not have are privately owned. Not government owned, no. Privately owned. Now, if they are government owned, you could have dispatched with them as you feel like, when you feel like. But they are government owned, okay? And you need those to complete the deal. But yet you are still making a deal. And you do not have the amount of land needed for the deal. Well, how can you make a deal concerning private land, not government land, but how can you make a deal concerning private land? Okay? When you don't even know if the people are going to sell you the land.
Maybe that is why he's making sure that he tries to convince the people to sell the rest of the land.
But you ain't supposed to convince the people first. And then, even if you want to buy them as a government, whatever, you ain't supposed to convince the people then before you make the deal.
But my question is, should the government be convincing the people as opposed
no.
to the
No.
Yeah, so that's the question there.
Yeah, but in dealing, but yes, but in dealing with the situation as is, okay? In dealing with the situation as is, it's like, okay, for example, it's like me and somebody making a deal. What we're gonna do with Quint's house, what we're gonna do with X and Y Z house, who are your neighbors? Now we have some of your neighbors' houses, but we don't have yours as yet. But yet me and the person are already making deal about your house. Yeah, see the foolishness of that deal?
Well, haven't you been hearing us all the time? Haven't you heard all the questions we are putting
Right.
in forward?
Exactly. But Quint, if me and somebody gonna make such a deal about a certain amount of houses in your neighborhood, including yours, but yet we don't have all, and yours one we do not have. But yet we're making deals as to, well, if I don't keep my part, I'm gonna pay this amount. If you don't keep your part, you're gonna pay this amount. Imagine we don't have your house, but your house have to be a part of the deal, and we already making deal. And I don't even know if you're gonna give me the house. Wait, you only mean one or two things, Quint. You only mean one of two things. One, either I'm trying to play a bubble and the other person who I'm making a deal with to scam them out of the money. One. Or two, I'm planning to take your house by force, by the hook or the crook.
Well, yeah. It's either one or the other.
It's not either both. It is either both. So it is either. This is why he's making the deal. It is either one, that the government is working a bubble and the developers, which I don't think is the case, but it's either that, or the government plan to take these other properties by force.
What
Because they're
puzzles?
part of the deal.
And yeah, I want you to finish your point because I want to get into my clips.
Yeah. So my wrapping up point is that, you see, with all due respect, these are the kind of issues and problems, and doing the sort of when we do not follow the Bible and we elect men who do not biblically qualify for government. Thank you, Quinn. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Something was going. Yes, I cannot, and I say I because maybe you can fathom, maybe you can understand it, but I cannot. I like to think that I have a rational brain, and I like to think. Maybe I flatter myself that I can analyze given situations and come to rational conclusions. I like to think that. But I am kind of puzzled as to why, for the life of me, would a government official who is supposed to be a representative of the people or any representatives of the people, why, for the life of me, they would be trying to accommodate the facilitation of sales away from their indigenous local people into the hands, and massive amount of lands away from their indigenous people into the hands of any foreign entity. That baffles me. I cannot understand it, because when you take away the land, then the people have no real value but those who own the land. You understand? So let me bring it right home. If an investor was to come and was able to buy out all of Nevis, a foreign investor, I'm using a hypothetical, but I'm drawing the point. I want you to not miss the point of what I'm trying to say. This is why I'm using this hypothetical that incorporates all the land of Nevis. So this in this hypothetical, I'm saying, if an investor is able to buy all the land in Nevis away from all of the present owners, whether it be government or people, Nevisians, who has power over Nevis? Who has control over Nevis? Now, yes, I've gone to the extreme where I've said all the land, but I've done that because I want you to understand that who owns the land have the power. So even though in this instance it is not all of the land, it is a massive amount of the land. And this land is in an area where you not only are going to control this massive amount of land, but you're also going to control a massive sea area or seashore area. Seascape is a better word. You're also going to be able to control the seascape of that given area. You want that to be in the hands of foreign entity as opposed to leasing it? Now, if you lease most of that land, the entity comes, the entity builds whatever, Let's say that land is even leased for 100 years, 200 years, and the investor makes their investment, makes their money for that 200 years. After that lease is up, even if though it is a minimum lease, let's say for a minimum amount of money, the land reverts back to the owner. The owner still owns that land. The investor would have made their monies. They would have invested and gotten all the monies that they wanted to make, gone away and live happily ever after with their exorbitant amount of money, and you still own your land. But when the investor comes and owns the land, the investor not only owns the land until they decide to sell it again, and I can assure you they're not going to sell it back to a local, that's one. But while the investor is owning that land in the given period, the same 200 years that you would have leased that land to give that person the time to make a massive profit, this person is on this land for 200 years making the same massive profit and still owning the land. So what do you get? And you want to tell me that leaders buy into this? Leaders in a modern era? Leaders who are rational thinkers? Leaders who like to use words like, phrases like, you need to understand English clearly, and phrases like, let me be pellucidly clear. You mean you mean leaders like those are buying into this? I mean, I'm asking you. Hello, caller?
Yes. Greetings and love.
Yeah, you're going to be brief because I want to play some clips, okay? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just trying to strengthen your position there, you know.
Yeah.
There was a clip sometime on the social media showing, I think he was an Englishman,
Yeah.
talking about recolonization of the Africa, you know, which is all of us. You know, the same thing we're going on here is what's going on in Africa, same way. You know.
Same way.
I understand? So I'm going to listen to your clip and then we'll open again.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to play this first clip, and this clip I entitled it, Let's Speak About Land Swap and Land Sale. I want you to listen to this clip.
Good evening, everyone. My name is JD Keynes. In the video played earlier, perhaps almost at the start of tonight's town hall featuring Olivier Jensen, it was noted that persons who do not wish to outright sell their lands have the option to swap lands, and that can be pursued, that can be implemented. In other words, I understood it to mean that they can get lands in other parts of the island. Now, considering his comment, and even taking into consideration the Premier's comment earlier that persons within the zone cannot purchase land outside the zone, I am curious to know where else does the proposed developers have lands on Nevis. He said in his video that you can swap the lands and they can facilitate it. Okay, so I'm just curious to know where else he has lands so that can be facilitated.
My understanding is that what these developers have sought to do is to acquire options on lands elsewhere in Nevis. And to say to people, therefore, that if your lands are located in the area that they wish to acquire, and you do not want to sell your lands because you just want to continue to hold on to land somewhere, then they're saying, well, would you be willing to take additional land someplace else on the island? So put differently, they will buy land someplace else on the island and transfer that land to you in exchange for your lands, which are on the south side of Nevis. And my understanding is they're doing that at a rate of 1 to 1.5. So if you have 10 acres, you'll get 15 acres someplace else on Nevis. That is the proposal as I understand it.
Now, I want you to, I want you to just let that vibrate in your mind. Here is an individual who queries just like I did, and I'm sure no number of you How is it that an investor who is purporting to acquire lands can further make a statement that if I don't get the land that I'm trying to acquire, mind you, they're trying to get lands, own lands in Nevis, but they are so presumptuous, they must know something we don't know, that they can say, if you can't, if you don't want to give up your land in this area, we can swap lands. Well, how does this individual who is trying to own land in the first instance, how is that individual able to tell you that they can swap lands in another area? And to make it even, to take it even further, Mark Brantley says they say they're going to give you at a 1.5, which means you have 10 acres, they give you 15. Well, that means that person has knowledge of land somewhere. A person isn't going to glumly tell you, well, I can swap lands if they do. I'm not going to tell somebody I'm going to swap land with them if I don't know I have lands. If I do that, then I'm disingenuous and I'm a liar and I'm trying to scam the person. So it's either that this investor or these investors are trying to scam you, or they are aware of lands in other places that they already have. Or they already know the people are going to relinquish the ownership of those lands. Isn't that logical thinking? But here's what I want you to pay emphasis on. Mark Brantley is supposed to be a representative of the people of Nevis. And tell me if I'm wrong, but so far, all I hear from Mark is telling us what the investors want. Isn't Mark supposed to be telling us what we will get? Isn't Mark supposed to be telling us what the benefits of whatever will be, as opposed to, hear his statement, I am told. Mark, you are the Premier of Nevis. You are privy to information. Why can't you say, well, I am aware of the fact that, but no, you don't say that. You say, I am told. So you have been informed that this is the case. But the case that you're putting forward is representative of the investor. Yes, we understand you want the investment because you assume that the investment is going to be beneficial for the people. But like I said before, and I'll reiterate, up to date, we cannot hear what those benefits will be. We see a video, and that video is so fantastic that it is unbelievable. Me as a rational thinker, when I see that, the first thing jump into my mind, you understand the kind of money it's going to take to develop that? You understand the period it's going to take for that development to ensue before you even reach the point where you have homes and villas and pools and all of that? You understand the kind of development? But what is it after that development? What are we going to get? Because remember again, the salient point that I want you always to remember is that we won't own that land. That is what I want you to understand. When I see that video, I see a cascading across a mountain range, beautiful mountain range, lush vegetation. And you're telling me that our leader who was born and bred and who I've heard say he perused those hills and valleys and mountains, that he wants to see that go away from locals to foreign? Hello, caller? Hello, caller?
Hi, good morning, Clint. Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah.
Those last two questions that you came up with there just now, they're eye-opening. The swapping of the lands, where they're offering you to swap your lands with other lands. How much more do they own on Nevis that we don't know about?
That's the question.
And the Premier seems to be working on behalf of the investors. not the people of Nevis. Could you imagine a town hall meeting where almost an hour of that space was taken up introducing you to the players on that company, what their backgrounds are, um, what they hold, where they went to school. That's not what we were there for.
No.
We were there for our questions to be answered.
Yeah.
And our questions never got answered.
And
because
our
so
questions
much time was taken up.
and our questions should be what will benefit us, not what here's it, caller. I'm agreeing with you. If this presentation that you're speaking about, it is the investors who should have been there putting that forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why were they not there?
Why were they
on
not
Sunday
there?
night? Now, Clint, the other beef that I personally have, we keep hearing about the lands on the south end, that they're barren lands. Clint, these are lands that people made an investment in, Nevisian people, not rich Nevisian people either. People who took their small amounts of money that they worked hard for, they had their cattle, they had their vegetation, or however they got their money, because they wanted to make an investment for their children and their grandchildren. Those lands and owners have been paying taxes on those lands for all these years. The government has fallen short in putting that tax money back into the infrastructure, the roads, the water, the electricity, so that the owners could never do anything with their lands over there. Some years ago, I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but the Nevis Island government, NRP was in at that time, had investors who were interested. I remember a gentleman from St. Kitts was part of that team in bringing the oil storage facility there. And much noise was made about that. But it was brought to the people before anything else was done.
Yeah.
So the people had an opportunity to understand what was being proposed. The current players today were part of the opposition then, who made a lot of noise about it not happening. So it's very interesting to see their role now. Okay? The people of Nevis have their right. And if they don't choose to sell their land, they don't have to. The people that are coming in, we're seeing and hearing ads. Could you imagine that the pictures you're seeing, which obviously were pictures that somebody sat behind a computer and threw up there.
Yeah, and we've seen, we've seen those pictures before. I remember when I was a child, I saw pictures of how the Frigate Bay area was supposed to be. That never took place. I remember seeing pictures of how White Gate was supposed to be. We saw pictures of big ships docked up over on that end. That never came. The housing recently that fell through, that was supposed to happen down here with all of these 500 homes and so, we saw pictures, we heard the person saying and showing you pictures of how it's going to be smart homes. Did that come true?
Mm-hmm. It's heartbreaking, and I am hopeful that this will never happen. Number one, and number two, there will be other investors out there. I'm sure that there have been others who have come. There have been Nevisian investors who were purporting to put something over there in a place called Coxseed, and the government didn't approve it. They were held back. A local Nevisian investor. Okay? So there's been a lot of things that's been going on over the years. And I don't think that these guys just woke up last week, last month, last year with this. They've been around here a long time pooping. They've been talking to. They've been figuring out who they need to talk to. And this has been signed off on. I'm convinced it has. And so that is why you see the trust now. Had not the persons who had done the work, like Dr. Daly and others, and brought this information into the open for Nevisians, we would never know nothing was happening until we woke up one morning and start seeing things moving around and people here that that we don't know who they are. I mean, this is. I'm hoping that Nevisian's eyes are opening. Listen, form your opinions, get your questions, and don't be afraid to ask the questions, because something is not right about this situation. The way it started and was brought to us, it should have happened a long time ago until now. And just about a month and a half ago, when a division stood up in a town hall meeting and asked the question about this thing, we were told that this was just a rumor, and they couldn't have answers to questions that are rumors. Well, this rumor took on a life of its own quickly and fast, and now we have all kinds of answers that we never had about a month and a half ago. Now, going back a little bit, I heard you.
Caller, I want to play. I have 3 more clips I want to play, and time is fast running out. So
let me just say this quickly, though. I listened to the Prime Minister make a statement I was obviously watching him on the TV, and he said that he had nothing to do with Nevis land. So why was he signing off on this bill? And what are we hearing now, that the Prime Minister should do this and the Prime Minister should do that? He has nothing. He said himself he has nothing to do with Nevis land. So where's he going to come from now? How is he going to help the people of Nevis?
Well, he still has the ability to repeal it if, as Mark Brantley keeps saying, that there's no deal, there's no agreement, completed agreement, then we could logically assume, if we follow Mark, that this can be repealed, and the only person who is really in a position is the Prime Minister and his cabinet, the federal cabinet.
You know the problem, though, Clint, at this point? We don't believe none of that.
Well,
that's the biggest problem they have, is the trust factor that they've lost.
That's it.
With the way that this whole thing has been brought forward.
Okay.
The trust factor. Have a good day.
Same to you.
Thank you.
Okay, that is why I say if we follow what Mark said, because I always go on what I hear.
Good night, everyone.
So I want you to listen. I want you to listen to this clip now, and this clip is entitled, "Why is the..." Let me see if I can get it up here. Why is the Premier and federal cabinet adamantly pushing on the local populace a proposed investment to which the Premier admits he is not adequately informed? And listen to this statement and you will hear Mark say he's not adequately informed on certain things. So if you're not adequately informed, then why are you pushing this? Listen.
Good night, everyone. My name is Bentley Bissett, and I'm sorry that we do not have any more time. I hope that this will not be the last town hall meeting. Reason be it, in the spirit of transparency, and this has been said multiple times tonight, and being that this is the first of its kind in the Caribbean, why not make the proposed agreement public before ratifying in the House? I believe we have said that tonight is a debate. Persons can give their input, but if we do not have the information, if I do not have the information, I cannot make any informed decision or input or contribution. And that's the key word tonight, contribution. So if the information is being dripped, because look, I have about 15 questions. And tonight, this session has given me more questions than answers, and I'm limited to 2. So I decided to ask that. And the next question is, based on seeing that we cannot have a referendum or anything, and the impression I am getting tonight is that this discussion here, I'm not sure if it will change much in terms of the decision that the government is taking with this Destiny project. My other question then is, will there be an early election before signing the agreement and ratifying it in Parliament? Because it was said that the developer agreement is going to be made public during the Parliament. But my train of thought or reasoning is, why wait till it goes to Parliament or to the House, where only a few is going to debate it, and then it is made public after the fact? So why not, seeing that this is such something monumental, bring it forward, let us all look at it, have meaningful discussion, input, and say, no, we agree with this part, we don't agree, and we tell the developers, deal or no deal. And I am in support of development, but not any and wash your foot and come sort of development, or any development that is under deception. No, we want transparency. Thank you.
All right. Officer Bissett, I heard your question, but perhaps in terms of the parliamentary process, a bill does not just show up in Parliament for debate. That's not the way the parliamentary process works. A bill goes, the normal process is it has a first reading, the Parliament then adjourns, that bill then becomes a matter of public record. The bill then comes back, usually at some other occasion, weeks later, for what is referred to as a second and third reading. That's when the bill becomes law. So I don't want you to leave with the impression that somehow we're going to show up in Parliament, debate a bill, and the bill is passed into law. That is not the way legislation works, particularly legislation of this nature. So I just want to make that clear, that there will absolutely be opportunity for you and everybody else. But in terms of bringing an agreement, we don't think that there's any value in bringing an agreement before we have had the opportunity to negotiate. And that is where we are at this point. What we're hoping is that these meetings will give us information that we can then inform ourselves and assist us in our negotiation. But there's no suggestion, or if there is a suggestion, it's an incorrect suggestion, that a bill is just going to appear in Parliament and passed. And as you suggested in your commentary, that somehow after it's passed is when the public is going to see it. That is not the case.
Now I'm going to play back this particular bit, this particular piece here. Listen to this.
That we can then inform ourselves and assist us in our negotiation. Opportunity to negotiate. And that is where we are at this point. What we're hoping is that these meetings will give us information that we can then inform ourselves and assist us in our negotiation.
So the Premier is admitting there that he is not fully informed. He's still, during the negotiation, trying to be fully informed. In case you think I misrepresent what he said, let me play that again.
Opportunity to negotiate. And that is where we be opportunity for you and everybody else. But in terms of bringing an agreement, we don't think that there's any value in bringing an agreement before we have had the opportunity to negotiate. And that is where we are at this point. What we're hoping is that these meetings will give us information that we can then inform ourselves and assist us in our negotiation.
You hear that? You hear that? The Premier says he is still in negotiation. He is still not adequately informed. And these meetings, he's looking for information from these meetings so that him and peoples associated with this can be properly informed. But yet still a bill has been passed and gazetted into law. Yet still they are adamantly pushing forward with this when he's not fully informed. And if he's not fully informed, then why are we hearing the question of repeal coming up? Let me see if I can take this caller. Hello, caller.
Yes. Good morning again, Queen. Now I'm listening, right? Mark addressed the person that was talking about Parliament, and he went on lamenting about how Parliament works. But we know the record of Parliament in our country. Parliament, if they want something passed, all they have to go in there, and if it takes 3 reading, they do the 3 reading in one day. If it takes them all night, they will stay in there to get that bill passed. So for the long explanation when he went on talking about Parliament, we know the record of Parliament. When they want something passed, they go in there, 1, 2, 3, aye, done. So what was all that for? This thing is bigger than us. It's something, and like somebody said, it's happening in Africa. It's happening all over. Jamaica one is called Smart Kingston. That's what their one is gonna be called, Smart Kingston. And right now, people are talking about this storm what hovered over Jamaica for a couple of days. You know what people are bringing up? Drawing reference to the 1960 operation, what they call Popeye, where it was the U.S. government who created a weather, created this bad weather to do what they wanted. So they want people now are wondering, is this hurricane, is this storm Operation Popeye for New Kingston? Look me, these things, oh, God help us all. You hear, Quint? Have a good day.
Okay, let me see. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Hi, Quint. Good morning.
Yeah, I want you to be brief because I have 2 more clips I want to play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Following the first clip you played and the response Premier Matt Brantley gave to the caller and the town hall meeting, I assume, I sense that he is referring to the NIA is going to table that bill because it's on the island of Nevis. And for the fact that the SSD already went through its stages down in the federal parliament, I'm kind of like referring to it on Nevis's end, which is a rubber stamp for the fact that Premier Matt Brantley, he is making a case for the investors as opposed for the people of Nevis.
Yeah.
And so that is a rubber stamp because the NIA in the 5-member seating, I think they have 3 or 4, but they have a mandate. So that would be a rubber stamp. Nothing will able to stop that. Now, I'm wondering the legal ramifications of it. For the fact that the bill has not gone through, according to Premier Matt Brantley, I don't think that persons in the legal fraternity were able to do anything like say, an injunction to stop the process until proceedings have started on, tabling the bill and so forth.
Yeah.
So, but I am hoping that they are all, I know they are all geared up because this, like, legal fraternities, persons in that area, have already said that this is going to go to the Privy Council.
Okay.
But did say that the opposition NRP has written to the AG. It would be interesting to find out, and it would be interesting for the AG to not have what was written there and get lost in the files, but pay keen attention to it, and let the general public know that he has responded to the opposition and Nevis.
Yeah.
Their concerns.
Okay.
Thanks for listening.
Okay, let me. Hello, caller.
Their concerns. Okay, thanks for listening. Oh.
Hello, caller.
Yes, Brother Quinn.
Be brief. Be very brief.
Can you retrieve a comment that the Prime Minister made?
No. I don't want people to give me work to do. I pick the things I'm going to do and play. Right? You want certain things, go and get them yourself. I scrutinize things and I bring them because I've analyzed them. I'm not going to come and bring what you say and next thing it incriminates me or puts me in.
No, but it's being said. It's just like you citing clips from.
Yes, but there are clips that I but there are clips that I put together for my own reasons.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. I was just open for the public to hear that I need the Prime Minister.
Well, tell them where. Well, I'm going to give you time to tell them where they can go on YouTube or Facebook and hear it.
All right. Well, I'll just use it as another medium.
Okay, then. Cool. Yeah. So, so let me play this other clip now. And this one is entitled, let me see if I can entertain this caller. Hello, caller.
Pleasant good morning to you.
Yes.
Clint, what's up?
Yes. I want you to be I want you to be brief because I have 2 clips I want to play, and time is running on against me.
Okay, no problem.
Go ahead.
I was listening the premier press conference yesterday, and I heard he state that the citizens of the SSD will not be eligible to vote. But from what I know, once you are a citizen of a country, the Constitution states once you're 18 years of age, you're eligible to vote. So I heard the Premier stated that they will amend the Voters Act of Nevis, and those persons would not be eligible to vote in Nevis election. So are the Premier stating that we're going to have 2 classes of citizens? So that is my takeaway. Does an act override the Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis, the federal Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis?
Well, that is a very good question. Unfortunately, I'm not a legal luminary, but I would assume that Mark is just making statements, as someone said. Politicians say what they want, what the people expect them to say. So he's just saying that, but this is easier said than done. I mean, I don't understand how a people who comes and take over a mass amount of your land, and from what you're putting forward to us, they're going to be helping with your infrastructure, your education, your health. They're going to be helping with your water and your electricity, and then you're going to tell them what they can and cannot do?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, that was a bit strange to me. So that was just my takeaway from my question mark when I heard that.
Well, you're quite observant, so good for you, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Same to you. So I mean, I heard that statement myself, and I was thinking, wow. I mean, anyway, let me play this clip. This one is entitled, because I named them so that I know the gist of what I'm playing. Why has the Premier seemingly conceded to one developer to accommodate the buying of large tracts of land for a special zone and not the leasing of land? Okay, let me repeat that again. Why has the Premier seemingly conceded to one developer to accommodate the buying of large tracts of land for a special zone and not the leasing of land, right? Very good question there. So listen to this, and this explains why I asked that question.
Hello. Good evening. My question is one question, and that is this. I think most people on the island would welcome the development, but my question is, what is the necessity for the SSZ? And my question goes to Madam Lewis as the legal representative of the Cabinet. It is well known that previous developments, including the one that I propose to do on the south side, but let us refer to the Four Seasons in particular, received concession agreements from the government covering taxation and a whole host of other issues. So why could this development not have the same kind of agreement, which is totally under the control of the NIA and didn't need any kind of federal involvement? And if that is not the case, can you please clarify for everybody what the difference is between the normal kind of concession agreements given to developers and what additional concessions you are giving or being asked to give for this particular development project? Thank you.
With respect to concessions, concessions are the subject of the development agreement and will be discussed in there. The SSZ Act does not address concessions. The necessity for the Act relates to the intention of the federal parliament that such matters, because they will involve or could possibly involve matters of national federal responsibility, such as taxation, such as citizenship, such as land ownership, it was thought that that would be the appropriate place for those matters to be raised. And it is the federal parliament who took it under their consideration to issue and introduce the legislation. I don't know whether the Premier, as a member of the federal parliament, would like to say more about that.
A lowly member. Mr. Lowe, you asked a question that I think many have asked, which is essentially, why just not do this as an ordinary development? I think the answer is really that this is intended to be a special zone. And special zones all around the world are done through special legislation. You know, we have had a lot of debate in Nevis, which some people are upset that we're having debate. I'm actually happy because it shows the strength of our democracy. But the debate that we're having in Nevis really is reflective sometimes of an absence of an appreciation that these zones have been existing all around the world. We've never had one in Nevis. But Jamaica had zones since the 1960s. The DIFC is a very famous zone in Dubai where that exists. So for us, really, it is something new. I think that no zone can be created absent special legislation to allow it to be created. So that's the first answer in terms of the SSC. I think why we are having this debate about this particular zone is because this is trying to do something new. It's trying to do something different. It's trying to go beyond what other zones have done in terms of what it's seeking to create. And so I think that that is where perhaps the debate, one, that is new to us. It's not new, but it's new to us. And two, the extent to which this zone is seeking to establish. So it is really a situation where one cannot ever establish a special zone. In other countries, they say SEZ, Special Economic Zone, absent the relevant legislative framework to allow it to happen. Put differently, I could not, by way of agreement with you, sir, create a special economic zone with that Four Seasons or at any development that you wanted to do. Right? To do that, you need special legislation to do it. And it is not something that is particularly rare. In fact, I was looking at something recently where the short-lived Prime Minister in the UK, Rishi Sunak, he was Prime Minister, I think. I hope I'm right on that. But a colleague of mine in London sent me where he announced that he was doing, I think, 7 such zones in the UK to do exactly what we are trying to do, to spur development. A point that perhaps I should have made at the outset that I did not make is that we have to consider that for a very long time, this country has been heavily dependent on citizenship by investment money. That has been the goose that has been laying that golden egg. We're now in a situation where all across the region, that CBI money is drying up, and St. Kitts Nevis is no different. So the question that we have to ask ourselves really is, what then do we do? Do we try to raise taxes on an existing population which is already taxed? Do we find new avenues for revenue? What do we do? We have no gold as far as I know. We have no oil as far as I know. But we have a need as an island to develop and to grow. So absent financial flows as a non-tax revenue, like CBI, what do we do in terms of our development and in terms of maintaining the standard of living to which we all have grown accustomed? So all of these are important considerations as we try to figure out, and the SSZ legislation was really designed to provide another alternative, an option for us to diversify the local economy.
If these developers have approached you and wish to develop, that's great. My question is, why do we need an SSZ? They can develop exactly everything that's been presented here without any kind of legislation, because it's within the NIA jurisdiction to grant them all the concessions that we've heard about tonight in terms of taxation, in terms of labor employment and law and so on. So I still don't understand, and I think a lot of people don't really grasp why, what are the extra conditions that we are not aware of, or the extra demands that they are seeking that would not be covered through a normal development contract.
But if that's the question for us, then I'm asking you similarly, how is it that the UK has all of these zones? How is it that the US has all of these zones? How that Jamaica has its zone? They all come through special legislation. So we can argue about the modality of development all we want. The bottom line is that the SSC was designed to create another avenue for development. Some may use it, some may not, but it's making that avenue available for those developers who say, I would prefer to do a development within a zone which is a special zone. So it is not to say that what you're suggesting, if another Four Seasons wants to come, we welcome them. But if a developer comes and say, I want to do a Four Seasons like development, but I want it in a special zone, all the SSC does is creates the framework to allow that to happen. So it's a matter of choice. That's what it comes down to. And as a government, we have provided the options for developers to come and to talk to us.
It's a precondition of theirs that they will not come and do any development on this island unless it's within an SSZ. Is that the
This
case?
developer wants to have an SSC.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Somebody just say it.
Yeah, so there you had it. There you had it. Now, the person who asked that question is a business person who proposes a development in that same area. And you hear the question he asks? He says, in a sense, he's saying, I'm aware of how this thing is done. So what is so special about this? Why can't you do it the way the Four Seasons was done? Why do you have to go to... And then Mark Brantley says, well, if that is your question, then why is it being done in Britain? And why is it being done in... And why is it being done here and there? And the question is not why is it being done anywhere else. The question is, why is it being done here in this way? You understand? It's like, as we're just expressing, it's like me saying a maths teacher comes in front of me and puts down a maths paper for me to do an exam, and I look at the maths teacher and I say, but maths teacher, why do you expect me to do maths when maths is being done in England and France and Germany? Well, the teacher will look at me and say, well, Quint, it is for you to sit down and work out the maths yourself. That is what it's about. So Mark, don't give us... I hate when you all come and give us examples of what is being done everywhere else, because something may work somewhere else and not work here. And in this instance, as you heard the investor ask, the potential investor who wants to do things the legitimate way asks, why is this and what is so special? So I've got enough time where I can play my final clip, and my final clip is entitled, let me see here. My final clip is entitled, let me see here. Note how the Premier conveniently ignores the most relevant questions. Let me repeat that again. Note how the Premier conveniently ignores the most relevant questions. Listen to this.
Good evening. I'm Livingstone Williams. I'm a landowner. My family owns land in the same designation. I have a problem with when Mr. Brantley tries to lowball and dismiss the lands over on the southeast, saying that they have not contributed anything to the economy of Nevis. Well, I pay thousands of dollars every year the land tax. I have never got the road done. I've had to maintain it myself for my business. And Mr. Evelyn has said that there's no livestock over there. Well, livestock, Mr. Brantley, let me go back to him, says for the last 100 years, nothing has happened over there. That is totally false. Because from as far as Saddle Hill, Roland Archibald had St. George's Farm. There was a man named Ratty Esdale and his brother Harry, who had Winter Forest and Harry Saunders. When you come back over to Whitehall, Sunder Liberd, Troy knows about this because it's over there I met him. They ran animals there too. When you come back to Coxeat, Dr. Huggins used to run animals there. When you come back to Bush Hill, Bellot. A lot of people won't know Bellot, but Bellot used to run animals there. Richmond Lodge Estate, not only does it have animals, it has 2 farms. One of the farmers for 2 years was the #1 farmer in Nevis. And I have a quarry at the bottom. The people who have approached me since last year about buying lands want to come with a ridiculous deal about 1%, and then they're going to pay me in 3 or 4 years' time. Right? What kind of deal is that? I asked them, are they crazy? How do they expect to come to somebody and want to put that deal? I've done deals all my life. I would be mad to try to tell somebody 1% and the rest of the money in years to come, and you don't even know.
Make it quick, please. We are moving ahead quickly.
Okay.
We're going to
all right. Okay.
Please move on.
Right, and they refuse categorically to do any leasing or partnership. Right? Now, why don't they want to do that? Why? And then they want to make demands. If you say, well, I'll sell you a piece, they say no, under no circumstances. They want all. They came to me with all my family's lands and said they want all. So I say, so where the hell are we going to live then?
Mr. Williams, a question, please.
Yes.
I know we can go on with the editorial, but please. A question. We have the police officer, and we are running out of time.
Yes.
Quickly, please.
So then, as I say, I want to ask, I asked him already, Mr. Brantley, why is he always downgrading? Whenever he talks about the lands are no good. Well, if they're no good, why do they want them?
Let me quickly speak to Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams, I noted in your commentary about animal, you mentioned a lot of people. Some of those people I remember from my youth, and I'm no longer young. Them gone long time ago. And so you keep saying that this was done and that used to be done. My issue really is, can we say that there is currently that level of animal farming that you described on those lands? And other than the last few names you mentioned, Carl, Colin, and Brady, all of whom I know very well, not one soul else over there is farming. Well, Emontine is again up, Emontine is up in Brown Hill, all right? So all those names you call out, you went from Brown Hill all the way to Bath. All of them people are either done gone, or them done with farming a long time ago. I hear somebody mention my dad. He's of blessed memory. The reality is that in terms of farming over there, and those who, like yourself, know that area, and I know the area too. I grew up in Brown Hill. So for those who know the area, I heard somebody the other day talking about Brown Hill Bay. I used to, as a youngster, walk to Brown Hill Bay, swim, go to small Budza. I wasn't good enough to reach big Budza. But look how long no fishermen use in Brown Hill Bay. There hasn't been fishing being done out of Brown Hill Bay now, I would say, for the last 40 years. Right? So we can hold on to nostalgia and say this is what used to be, or we can deal with the reality that is there today. You say I'm devaluing the land. You heard the comment, Mr. Williams, that was made by Mr. Liberd in the back. He said, when you sell the land out there, we're going to put the dump. That was his comment. Oh, you didn't hear him. So my point is, no, here's my point. You're seeking to say that I am devaluing the land. I am just speaking to the reality. There is no road, there is no water, there is no electricity, there is no development in that area. And that is the reality. So I am not sure why you're trying to persuade us that the reality is something different. And harking back to 50 years ago and what used to happen, frankly doesn't tell us what is happening today. All right, so if I said it was 100 years and you prefer 50 years, that's okay. But I'm simply telling you that what you're describing is something that used to happen. It is not something that is happening now. And you can't convince anybody in here that it's happening now because we know the area. You're from Brown Hill? You're from the Brown Hill, right? So don't. There's no road over there, Mr. Williams, because of the colossal cost that it will cost the government. You say you pay a few $1,000s in land tax. It will cost us. It would. Let me finish. You're asking me a question. It will cost us over there. You ask me why is there no road? Okay. So you're not the only one who pays tax. Why there is no road is because of the cost, Mr. Williams. For us to put in infrastructure going into that area, we're talking about road. We had, what do you call it? We'll consider an RFP, and the numbers are astronomical. We're not talking about 10 or $15 million. We're talking 40 million and more in terms of that particular infrastructure. We're not yet talking about water. We're not yet talking about electricity. So it is easy for us to say to the government, why you ain't putting a road? Because I have land over there and I pay a couple $1,000s in tax. But that is not the way government expenditure works. It would be impossible for any government, this one or any other government, to find the resources to put in the necessary resources
Mr. Liebert,
into the South Coast. It really would be impossible. Please. And I'm not just saying that because it is the reality of the situation, right? Why, we considered it. We said we would look at the possibility of putting in a road there, right? But when these developers started to discuss the possibility, we said, well, all right, let's hold. Let's hold on that. Because we aren't sure where we're going to find the money in the first place to put in that level of infrastructure that would be required to open up the south coast of Nevis. And that is just the honest position.
So you heard it for yourself. Now I'm going to play back this piece. Listen to this. Right, let me see.
40 million and more.
Let me pull it back a little.
What do you call it? We'll consider an RFP, and the numbers are astronomical. We're not talking about 10 or $15 million. We're talking 40 million and more in terms of that particular infrastructure. We're not yet talking about water. We're not yet talking about electricity. So it is easy for us to say to the government, why you ain't putting a road? Because I have land over there and I pay a couple $1,000s in tax. But that is not the way government expenditure works. It would be impossible for any government, this one or any other government, to find the resources to put in the necessary resources
Mr. Liebert,
into
please.
The South Coast. It really would be impossible. Please. And I'm not just saying that because it's so it is easy.
Now, I really want you to pay emphasis to this, listen to this.
Government expenditure works. It would be impossible for any government, this one or any other government, to find.
You hear that? It would be impossible for this or any other government to do what you elected them to do. That is what Mark Brantley is saying, 40-something million dollars, you put it over there, and the individuals who own the land can then develop the land or seek investors to invest in the proximity because it has roads and water and other infrastructure. So it is impossible to do what Kennedy Simmons did. Pay emphasis to the word impossible. This is how, this is a man who tells us, listen to the English language and understand the English language. This is a man who says, let me make it pellucidly clear. And yet still, this is what he's telling us. And he says, we were thinking about it, but then when the investor decided, we said, let's put a hold on that. But the investor wants massive amount of your land, and not only want massive amount of your land, he doesn't want it, they don't want it to lease, they want it to own. So that is how I'm going to conclude for today, because all I want to do really is to give you food for thought. And ask yourself if after all this is said and done, if you have heard anything up to date that really convinces you that this proposed thing will be beneficial to us. Because we hear about 20-something, 30-something billion. This is the fantasy, the pie in the sky thing, 30-something billion is going to bring to Nevis in 1 year, and 20-something billion to St. Kitts, approximately. Politicians need to wake up from their dreams. Do not look for investors to bring this kind of. You think 20-something and 30-something billion dollars is a little bit of money, but here is it. The investors are using the psychology of ambition and greed. Have you ever heard about that psychology? The psychology of ambition and greed. Because they know you're ambitious, and they know that you will lean towards greed, they come and they give you this fantastic thing, and you politicians sit down and say, what? 30-something billion for Nevis? Man, well, look, let me tell you, if Nevis was to get 30-something billion in 1 year, you understand what that would... I mean, people got oil and gold and this and that, and they'd work so hard and do... I mean, these people... Look, these people must be from another planet, I tell you. They're not from planet Earth. So I'm going to leave you and go to the headline news.